Normally in Path of Exile I like playing mobile, fast-paced, ranged characters. But every now and then I feel the urge to make a manly melee character. When that happens I pick a manly marauder and I choose a name that lets everyone know I am a manly man.
Seriously?
Well then I pick a different manly name. I go and pick up that heavy strike jam and I go bong, 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 bong. So as you can see, not only do I have problems containing my excitement for the diverse playstyle of most melee RT builds, I also really like clicking on mobs for attacking them, because who doesn't love trying to attack something just to see it move away? Not only rendering your initial hit on that mob useless, no, it also prevents melee splash from triggering. But you know what does get triggered when that happens? Me. So instead I ended up using Lightning Strike. And yeah, it says melee on it, that counts, right? But the best way to play Lightning Strike is to ignore the melee portion completely and scale only the projectiles. So yeah, I'm cheating, but who cares as long as we're having fun, right? For leveling with Lightning Strike, I recommend investing into some leveling gear. Nothing too fancy, just a Maginaut's Girdle for some life and damage. And maybe a Nocturnal Caress or Onda's Clasp gloves, just to speed up the whole leveling process a little bit. For weapons I used a Gore Drill till level 20, which was when I got my Uncle's Gauge. At level 35 you can get a Might Flay, which is freaking expensive, so instead I got a rare dagger with better stats for less currency, because that makes sense. And then upgrade to Beano's Kitchen Knife at level 65. You can use a good rare dagger if you want to, but Beano's is recommended. For gloves I recommend Maligaro's Virtuosity, for a great DPS increase. Winds of Change are a nice cheaper option if you can get a high-end projectile damage roll on it. Or just use a rare pair with preferably some added physical damage and attack speed, as well as life. For boots you can get a pair of Blood Dance by selling your mom for an Exalt or two. Or you can just use rare boots and not get frenzy charges at all. They will give you an insane damage boost, but they also cost you some defenses. And they are bloody expensive, so it's kind of your choice. For bandits I did Oak, Skill Point Alira, but Oak, Skill Point Caitlyn would also work just as well if you decide to get those Blood Dance. Now, before I go deeper into gearing, I have to explain some of my choices for defenses I made with this character. First of all, I only get 165% life on the passive tree, because on the right side of the tree it's kind of tricky to get enough life nodes. But I got an increased life roll on every single one of the jewels I have. 3 jewels with an average of 6% life per jewel, so plus 18% increased maximum life. That brings me to a total of 183% max life, which is fine for hardcore. I also get 147% increased evasion rating and 116% increased energy shield. So I'm playing a hybrid ES evasion life character. And that means I need very specific gear to make this work. On at least my helmet, shield and chest piece I need a very high percentage evasion ES roll and a flat plus ES roll and a high life roll. While that type of gear is not that expensive, you still need very specific pieces and they can still be hard to find. But another question is this even a good idea? Well, yes and no. The idea was that the main problem of evasion characters is that they will eventually get hit. So they need a very high life pool for when that happens and it happens to be a big hit. Otherwise you die, and in hardcore that's always kind of a problem. Hybrid ES life characters tend to have a very high effective life pool, but they tend to struggle with stuns and stun locking. And they also need a way to recharge their ES, and not getting hit for a while can help with that. But a problem is that you do not really want to pick up acrobatics and pace acrobatics as you usually would do on an evasion character, as it would halve your energy shield pool. So I picked up a little bit of block here and there instead to supplement my evasion. But as I cannot get any spell block without an unreasonable amount of investment, spells and especially physical spells are still quite a problem. Okay, back to gearing. Get an amulet with life and crit multiplier, as well as some increased ES and evasion rating if you can. Flat physical damage is nice to have on jewelry, as well as some crit chance. So diamond rings are optimal, but go with whatever you can get. At some point you will want to replace your Maginauts with a good rustic sash, with a high life roll, a weapon elemental damage roll, and maybe some flask rolls. or you can get some resists if you need those. For jewels, get life on every single one of them, especially if playing hardcore. Other than that, look for crit multiplier with daggers, crit multiplier with lightning skills, crit multiplier with one-handed melee weapons, crit multiplier in global form, crit multiplier while eating pizza, you name it, just get a crit multiplier. You can also get some attack speed, projectile damage increases also work of course, damage with daggers. Just make sure you don't get anything that says melee, because melee does not work. If you want to have a look at my gear, a link to my profile is in the video description. The character name is Yoji Thunderstruck. Na 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 na. Thunderstruck. I will include the passive trees for Hybrid ES Live, Evasion Acro, and the tri-hybrid thing I am trying to do in the video description below. For each one there will be a version with and without frenzy charges. So just choose whichever one you like best. And by the way, all of them are rangers except for the hybrid one, which is a witch. For gemlings I use Lightning Strike, which gets up to 8 projectiles as you level it, so you don't need GMP or LMP, you just slam Chain, Multi-Strike, PPAD, faster attacks and Wedu on it. This setup sucks for single targets, so for that we use Val Lightning Strike. Just link it with Multi-Strike, Wedu and added fire. With those links it literally shits on bosses. And yes, this is a melee skill, so it works differently from the normal Lightning Strike. Just link it with the gems I mentioned and it will work like a charm. But be very careful, never ever use it against monsters that can get lightning thorns, such as Chevron, or you will be dead. D-E-D, dead. And also care for Reflect, because the damage it does is ridiculous. I use Herald of Thunder with Curse on hit and Assassin's Mark to get power charges. I also run Hatred for more Damaggio, and I use Cast when Damaggio taken with Immortal Call, Increased Duration and Arctic Breath for some defenses. Lastly, I use Whirling Blades with Fortify and faster attacks to dash around like a madman and look fancy. And while I really enjoy Lightning Strike, I have two problems with it. The first one is being the projectiles stop at every freaking thing on the ground. The other one is that it is a bit taxing on your PC performance, and drop your frame rate significantly once your attack speed goes higher. Other than that, I think this skill is great fun to use. It clears fast, it looks awesome, it just feels really good. Great skill gem rework in general, and I can definitely recommend giving Lightning Strike a try. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe and check out my channel for more content like this. I also stream every Saturday, 3 PM Central European Time on Twitch. I am Yoji, and I will see you soon.